Do da do 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 da do 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 do. Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book, baby. Let's get into the show, man. Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Derrick Jaxn. He has filed for divorce. He has filed for divorce. You know what? We saw this coming. We knew this was coming. You know what? Do you know what he hasn't seen coming? Do you know what I think he hasn't seen her coming? I'm gonna tell you this. He has not seen that when she finally wakes up, she is about to release the hurricane madness about him. I'm telling you this now. In about a few months' time, maybe a year's time, there's going to be a tell-all, a be-all, exposure. Okay, there's going to be a hell of a lot of things coming out, I'm sure, about the relationship when she finally comes out of the spell that she was under. Because she was in a spell, guys. She was in a spell. So, when she finally gets away from him, and I'm not even trying to say he's just the only one to just blame, but when she finally gets out of that space and she realizes, oh my gosh, like I was being not necessarily played, but I was under a spell in the relationship, she gonna realize and she gonna come out and say some things. But let's just read the declaration on Derrick Jaxn's page. I actually went to her profile. She hasn't put this on her profile, so it's just on his. But of course, he's got a social media presence more than she has. But yeah, he's got this as well. So let's just read this quickly. It says, over the past several months, my family and I have gone through many changes. Some of you have speculated, while others of you have reached out to offer support as we privately established this new normal for ourselves and our beautiful children. Earlier this year, after much prayer, counseling, and deep consideration, we decided to go our separate ways and filed for divorce. Making the decision to file was one of the hardest decisions of my life, but I found peace knowing that our mission of raising healthy children, starting with healthy and whole parents, is still being accomplished. From falling in love just as teenagers to becoming spouses and now co parents, I'm grateful for the years we spent together and wouldn't trade them for anything. I was blessed to have such an amazing person in my life and will forever be thankful for all she's meant to our family. We ask that if you pray, to please pray for us as we navigate this grieving process. If not, please respect our privacy. Now, listen, let me be very real with you, okay? Derrick Jaxn has graduated from his marriage, guys. Derrick Jaxn has graduated from his marriage. He's another one of those. He's graduated, guys. Okay? I'm sorry. He's graduated. All right? Derrick Jaxn has graduated from this particular marriage, and a divorce is not a divorce. We're going to have a celebration party for him because this guy was under duress. He was bigger than what she could offer him. And, you know, he had so many women after him. I mean, how did you expect the brother to be faithful? How did you expect the brother to stay with you? You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you see some of the baddies that are attacking him right now, I mean, he could do videos from their houses. I need you to understand how much of a graduation this is for our brother Derrick Jaxn. The brother was doing videos from the houses of the women he was with. I need you to understand. Yes, Life of God, she was holding him back from his greatness. He's on 1.4 million now. How much will he be on when he is single and free and divorced? He's going to have so many more followers. Y'all didn't stop following him when he cheated on her. And you even were even saying, how did some of you were even saying, do you know what? I can see it why he cheated on her. She out here wearing a bonnet to a conversation on YouTube. Why won't he cheat on her? The brother simply has graduated and has entered into a new space. Okay? From here on out, it's only upwards. Okay? I just want to show my bicep a little bit. But only from here, it's only way it's upwards. Okay? I need you to understand that. Okay? I need you to understand that. All right. In all seriousness, look, nobody graduates from a marriage, from a divorce. Sorry, you cannot graduate from a divorce or a marriage. It's nonsense. It's absolute idiocracy, right? But we all saw this coming with Derrick Jaxn and his wife as well. And we've been reporting on them for the past like year or two, right? Since the madness that came out, with him obviously cheating on his wife, sitting doing videos outside the girl's house, rah 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 rah. Um, we've always known that it was only a matter of time. And then when she came onto the screen as well, and the bonnet of salvation, situation, I just knew that she was so greatly ingrained in the cult. And by the way, I think a lot of her issue also is not just Derrick Jaxn. I think being indoctrinated into a cult makes you look at your husband almost like a god. There are certain cults that make you look at your relationship as if that person is God. And I think what's happened is, I think that's also played a part in why when she came on our screens, we were so confused by the way she was defending her husband. Like, it wasn't the normal kind of defending, where you can see somebody's just in denial. This really looked like a cult kind of denial, where you're, kind of ignoring the obvious happening in front of you as well. So, it's a shame, but it's not a shame. You know what I mean? This was needed. I think for both of them. And so I think the cult situation has played a big part in why this has taken so long to get to where it has done. But what I'll tell you this now is, if she gets out of that cult, if you won't get a little SMR at that point. But no, once she finally gets out of that cult, once she's free, okay, once she's free, she gonna realize, okay, she gonna literally realize that she was in a relationship that was non-beneficial, at least the latter years, right? Because of what he was doing. I don't know how it was in the very beginning because they've been together since they were teenagers. I think was he cheating then as well? Did he have a little cheat then? Did he have a little madness then as well? Um, but all I'm going to say is that, you know what? Literally looking at this situation, we knew it was coming. Okay, all right. So look, let's be real here, right? Let's be real here. Let's be real here. You know, I'm never a big fan of these. We getting divorced photos, because the photos are. It's the same with the Tia situation, right? Same kind of photo. It's like we put a happy photo and we were together looking at each other at one point in love, and then putting these things. I really hate them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't like these situations, but I get why we do them, right? But reading his statement, over the past several months, my family and I have gone through changes. Some of you have speculated, while others have reached out to offer support as we privately established this is new normal for ourselves and our beautiful children. Earlier this year, after much prayer, counseling, and deep consideration, we decided to go our separate ways and file for divorce. I'm gonna tell you that, you know what, he probably sad about going for divorce, but I can almost bet he also too is happy. He's free. He can now be who he wants to be and do what he wants to do now, right? I think their relationship, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. It is. I was having a conversation about this really, like a few days ago with some friends about this, and I was talking about how, the scariest thing I think for anybody, man or woman now, is that people are quote unquote trying to graduate their relationships and their marriages. What that actually mean is, I've grown to such a point where I feel like you're not growing in the same capacity, the same speed, the same magnitude, and I feel like I'm bigger than the relationship and the situation I'm in. So let me just break this down this point real quick, right? I just want to break this point because I can edit it out and show you. All right. So it's like graduating in marriage. Okay. Let's just quickly just want to just break this part down for you guys. Okay. I think what's happening, I'm seeing I think a recent trend that I'm starting to see, not just in marriages in terms of celebrity world, but in even amongst normal people, is this aspect of growth that happens to one party that takes them to a place where they look at their partner and their partner's not making the same strides as them, and they feel they've now graduated their relationship. They're now bigger than their relationship. And something that was said to me I don't know. A pastor was preaching, and I don't even listen to all his preaching. I'll be honest with you, but this was very powerful. One of the things that he actually said, and I watched this also in another marriage DC. You are you are in a marriage, okay? You are in a marriage, and part of the marriage, you almost have to look at the marriage as tying a rope around your leg whilst tying it around your partner's leg. What does that mean? It means if I decide to run fast, so do you need to. If I decide to slow down, so do you. If I decide to go left, so do you. If I decide to go right, so do you. What does that mean? It means that I can't, if I get to a place where I look back and I look at you and go, I feel like I'm bigger than this actual relationship, what you have to realize is you may have to have a bit more patience with your partner to catch up, right? And allow them to catch up because you are together in a marriage, which means teamwork, partnership. It's one of the hardest things. I'm saying it with absolute caution and saying it with absolute grace as well, because I'm not saying it from a perfect place. I'm just saying it from a realistic position. I think we're a generation that when things are not happy, the word happy I'm using purposely, when we're not happy, we quit, right? Like the word we're looking for is joy, which is an inner dwelling, an inner happiness, right? It's not based on external circumstances. I think we're looking for that joy, but we end up looking at happiness, and then we end up, you know, extending ourselves beyond relationship. Now, in regards to obviously the Derrick Jaxn situation, clearly we know that he was cheating on her, and you know what? It would have not been surprised had they broken up at that particular moment, but he decided to stay and see how it would work. Cool. But I think in general consensus of conversation, what I'm seeing now is I want people to understand just because you've got an exponential amount of growth in knowledge, understanding, and even some wisdom, it does mean now you have to also be clear that your partner too needs time to catch up. Y'all didn't go on the same journey. Like, here's my thing, right? So, here's my thing. So I'm learning now that I'm only as good as my weak link, and she's going to be only as good as her weak link, right? So if I decide to marry you, and I'm hoping that you're not abusive. If you're not abusive, if a person's not abusive, let's kill those kind of conversations, because those things you need to quit. I need you to be out of that place. You can die, and I don't need that for you. But if we're just talking about a partner that you're not really happy with, then we have to realize that you have to tamper your radicalism. I have to find a way. Because one of the things I realized as well is that people like to go radical when they get knowledge, and then they become crazy with it. And as a Christian, I remember when you first get saved, how radical you become, right? You become radical, and it's like you get all this power and knowledge, and suddenly you're like, suddenly you're so excited, and you're like, oh, I'm da, 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 da. And then you realize you've got to chill. Life hits you, real life hits you, real things hit you, real events hit you, situations occur, and then you realize, actually, I can't live in a black and white world. All right. I can't live in a black and white world. Right. And so, because you can't live in a black and white world, you start to realize not everything can be. You start to hold grace. You start to hold multiple points. You understand cognitive dissonance. You start to realize that people do things wrong even when they know right. And you start to hold this level of patience and grace and endurance for people. But that first point where you first got saved, or you first get that, you get a lot of money, where people start getting excited and just blow. That initial phase is where you have to be very careful, because that initial insertion of knowledge, understanding, and whatever you're growing in that makes you so excited, it can make you look at your partner and go, why aren't you there with me as well? Why aren't you excited? But it's like they're not on that same journey just yet. So you're going to have to take your time. You're gonna have to take your time. You're gonna have to be patient with that person. Give them a little bit of time. They'll get to your space, but just give me a bit more time. And it's not easy to do that, like I said, because it takes time, it takes patience. Um, because when you first learn about something, you just want to talk to other person about it all the time, and and that person may not be in that space or have the capacity at that moment just yet to be able to receive it. So yeah, I do believe that. Now back to Derrick Jaxn and his wife situation as well. Back to Derrick Jaxn and his wife situation. Boy, um, thank you, Island Rose. Much appreciation. Honestly, I appreciate you. Thank you. Um, I appreciate it as well. I think obviously, yes, I see some commentary in there as well. Derrick Jaxn. One thing about Derrick Jaxn, let's be honest, he told a lot of truths. Let's just be honest, he did. Right? There was a bit of pandering there, but he told a lot of truth. Okay, he told a lot of truths about how women should behave, how women should be, how women, should receive and perceive and see the world when it comes to dealing with men. And the reason why he was so successful is in his simplicity, right? His ability to communicate a message clearly, right? That was what got him so big. It is the simplicity, it is the ease of the message, it's the clarity of the message and getting that across. That's why he's so successful, right? And we can separate his message from, and yes, him being a good looking guy too. That's the same with women too. Women buy into good looks just like men buy into good looks as well. It helps. Okay. That's TV for you, that's media for you, that's life for you. Um, and you know, I think in a lot of situations, um, I think when you have someone like Derrick Jaxn and then his wife, they've been together since they were teens. The and then you grow astronomically. I told you it's one of my biggest fears. I told you it's always one of my biggest fears. I told you it's one of my biggest fears. That, bruh, listen, you blow up to a point where he's 1.3 million on Instagram. I don't think you understand. Like, you don't have to be on TV these days to be famous, to be well known, to be, to be a celebrity as such. We're in a new generation where celebrity status is not based on TV; it's based on following. And he has a 1.3 million following on Instagram. Can I just say that again? 1.4, 1.3, sorry, million people follow him. Out of that 1.3 million, I'm sure a majority of them are women, right? Women. And this can change your whole spectrum and your whole way of looking at women when you have a completely different access pool than you did when you were in your 18 years old, right? And that's what I said to. That's what I said. Like, hey, people are graduating from their marriage. Hey, if men start graduating too, we mad at it. Listen, he's graduated. I'm not agree. I don't agree with him. I think it's. We all knew that his behavior was nonsense, and we all knew that his behavior was stupid. I mean, we called it out at the time. I'm merely stating some of the issues here now. That growing a platform where you have now that much like his access to women was not that when he was 18. When he dated her, his access to women was not the same level. But now he has grown and made into the man that he is now. His access to women, humongous. But again, it comes down to a character issue. It comes down to a desire issue. It comes down to the fact what's missing issue. It comes down to a wound issue. Um, so there's a lot that goes into that as well, right? As to why he ended up falling the way he did. But the reality is that this guy had a complete change in the years in terms of his access, and that amount of power can corrupt a man if unchecked. It can corrupt a man if unchecked. And so with um I think if you put across, I guess, that himself and his wife and their situation. Um, I think the biggest part of that situation is that, unfortunately, this marriage is now broken. I think that when we look at it from their point of view, the issue now is that their relationship has now broken down, and it seems to be unrepairable. Sorry. Um, Someone said he had multiple side chicks and he played himself. Yeah, he did. His hunger and his craving um, took over. And look, let me tell you something. Listen, that's what I'm trying. This is why I say This is why I said I'm just going to stay where I'm going to stay. I said this is why I'm going to stay where I'm staying right now, because I said, listen, right now I don't think I'm ready. If I'm not ready, I don't want to enter into a space where I feel like I'm not ready. If I'm not ready for a relationship, I don't think you should be entering, because you gon' cheat, you gon' move mad, you gon' you know what I'm saying? Like, that is true, Papa. I didn't know he was in a relation. I didn't know he was married. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know he was married. I didn't know it until into the cheating scandals happened. I did not know he was married. I did not know. So into the cheating situation, I didn't know he was married. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know he had a wife. So I was so confused. I thought he was single. You know. So I thought he was single. But yeah, I'm thinking to myself, once this lady gets free of the cult and the religious, and I say religious, not faith, but religious type of indoctrination that has put her in a place where she can't really think for herself. She talks as if somebody who's being controlled, and not necessarily by Derrick Jaxn, um, but by her religious institute. This will continue um, her kind of rhetoric and speak that she does, and praying and saying nonsenses in her prayer. Now, here's my thing. Also, with Derrick Jaxn and Danae Jackson as well, is that now she's free. We need her to be in a space where she begins the process of healing, because once you're vulnerable after a divorce, we don't know who's going to find you or who's going to get you. I hope that she has good people around her who will take her in, so that she can continue the construction of the um, deconstruction of the what call it, the indoctrination. um Someone said we all did till we saw the bonnet of salvation. You know what I mean? Uh, oh boy, yeah, I'm hearing you on that, Roxy. Still can't play with you. So yeah, no, I think in this situation with Derrick Jaxn and Danae, finally, hopefully they go their separate ways and it's clean. And then she gets the healing that she needs. He gets the healing he needs. And, I'm sure there are going to be a lot of women out there who are willing to assist Derrick Jaxn. That brother ain't going to suffer. Okay? Let me just say that now. Okay? That ain't going to suffer. He ain't going to suffer. He going to find another one. I can guarantee it. But yeah, that final point is always true. He did move like a single person. I did, and when I say single, in terms of representation, I just never knew. I think I'm always a person that's always said, I want to keep my relationship separate from the work that I do. So I definitely don't want to be having, my relationship too much on the gram and too much on YouTube. But the level of quietness, I just I never saw it. Like, there was no posting of her on IG or anything like that, blah, 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 no pictures, nothing like that. So it was a bit confusing for me. So yes, I mean, there is a level where you say, okay, you keep your relationship low key, but there's also a level where it's like, hey, look, even at work, when I work with colleagues in the office, I found out that you're married. So how is it that I'm following somebody for so long and I don't know they're married? Do you know what I mean? How is it that I've been watching videos and I didn't know that you're married or whatever? So that's a very big thing as well. Um, I think that's also a major thing as well. So, um, I think what we have to assess with the situation is that Derrick Jaxn, that brother, he's got his own path he's going to follow now. He will probably expand his platform and base again. But yeah, Hmm. I'll say less. You get me? So Haitian Empress said he moved like a single man the whole time. His message seemed to ensure women were drawn to him. Everything was so convenient, was so conveniently women centric, which should raise the suspicion of many. Yeah, I mean, look, his message was women centric. Let's be honest. His message was focused on delivering to the ladies and let them hope and let them love the message. That's the pandering part of it as well. Um, yeah, so I definitely agree with that as well. But yeah, hopefully we're going to see some progression again for both Danae and Derrick Jaxn. We wish them well in their pursuits of divorce. Hopefully it gets off clean. It's not messy. Um, but yeah, that whole your relationship never coming up and we never seen it on social platforms until this cheating situation. We'll discuss that another time. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button. Oh, by the way, if you want to continue the conversation, by all means, make sure you join our Patreon. If you want to discuss the conversation and talk more about this Derrick Jaxn thing, you've got a lot more to say. Join the Patreon. Get involved with get involved with the Discord. We want to hear your voices. Voices. You get me? Come and join the team. Get involved with the conversations. And yeah, we'd love to hear you guys as well and see you guys going forward as well in future. All right, guys, stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much love and appreciation, baby. Baby, you're my delight, and I know.